I'm Joe Lample. When I created Growing a Greener World, I had one goal: to tell stories of everyday people, innovators, entrepreneurs, forward-thinking leaders who are all, in ways both big and small, dedicated to organic gardening and farming, lightening our footprint, conserving vital resources, protecting natural habitats, making a tangible difference for us all. They're real, they're passionate, they're all around us. They're the game changers who are literally growing a greener world and inspiring the rest of us to do the same. Growing a Greener World, it's more than a movement, it's our mission. Growing a Greener World has always traveled the country to tell the stories of people and places doing good things through organic gardening and farming, sustainable living, and farm to table. Well, if there were ever a place that does all that and more, it's here. Located about 90 miles northwest of New York City, the Center for Discovery has provided more than 60 years of that kind of service to some of the state's most medically complex children and young adults. The center provides a nature-based curriculum to 280 school-aged children. In addition, it provides clinical and health, residential, and family support. The effectiveness of such a teaching model is documented with evidence-based research from prominent universities, including Harvard, Georgia Tech, MIT, and others. Much of that and the program's innovative and forward-thinking success is due in large part to Patrick Dollard, the center's president and CEO. Under his more than 3 decades of leadership, the center has grown from 30 employees to more than 1,500 full-time staff. While the model will continue to evolve, it's already increasing academic skills and helping children improve their ability to self-regulate, to communicate and interact with others, and to bring skills acquired in the classroom to their everyday lives.
Well, the goal of nature-based learning is, fairly simple. It's taking advantage of being outdoors and interacting with nature. And so there's an obvious energy to it. But then you add the activity that happens outdoors as it relates to our farming operation, then there's actually meaningful work and there's a deeper understanding of our relationship with animals and plants, and all of that starts to connect. And our teachers are able to put this into this systems learning approach, which really helps regulate kids who are not regulated naturally. And getting them out of the classroom and having that kind of interaction is really proving to be stabilizing for these kids. And I think the evidence is fairly obvious that they're calming down, their bodies are calming down, and we're really getting great results. And at the same time, they're having fun, and there's an exploration that takes place naturally when you're outdoors, and we're taking full advantage of that. As we now are dealing with more kids on the spectrum, we're realizing food is as essential in terms of gut-related disorders, celiac disease and other diseases of the gut that seem to be very prevalent in kids with autism. And food is really medicine for those kids, so you really need to be mindful of that. The practices of care for people with disabilities over the last 30 years has changed dramatically. We moved away from the white lab coat. We moved away from, pitying people and said, let's get with it, and let's help people create friendships. Let's keep families together. And so we just took advantage of the land, the place, the natural environment. At the same time, we really grabbed a hold of this dynamic new culture of care that evolved over time. The advocacy of our work is always including people, and we're finding new ways to include. We realized early on with our CSA program, the Community Supported Agriculture Program, we had people coming in from the community buying food that was help-made or help-produced by people with disabilities, that there was this natural process taking place that we're all sort of in this together.
Never content to rest on current success, the Center for Discovery is constantly seeking new ways to utilize nature, organic food, and involve the community for the benefit of all. Through their Farmstead project, they're revitalizing an abandoned town while providing new jobs to their students and area residents. Large tracts of adjacent land are being acquired for their land conservation program. The center even strives to provide 100% of their food for themselves and the community through its own programs. The Healing Gardens are one of the favorite amenities here at the Center for Discovery. They're filled with culinary and medicinal herbs and edibles, ornamental flowers and shrubs, and there are 5 of these gardens around the campus. Now, they were conceived and designed for the students and the residents to meet specific needs. But the best part about these gardens, they're here for everybody, from the employees to come during their lunch breaks and families to come anytime, and sometimes they're even here on the weekends. Now, from early spring until late fall, the students are invited to participate in the maintenance, from the weeding and the raking, even the harvesting. And that's such a huge part in these gardens because it provides a scalable way for them to learn horticulture as they transition into the farming, which is such an important part of this program. But here they get to do that in an easy way. But for everybody that comes to these gardens, there's so much to enjoy and everybody loves it. A central focus at the Center for Discovery is a strong emphasis on sourcing and optimizing the use of whole, nutrient-dense foods. In fact, it's a foundational therapy for the individuals at the center. Helping to oversee the department responsible for that is Jennifer Frank. By working closely with farmers, chefs, and nutritionists, Jennifer and her team can ensure the highest control over meeting those requirements.
The Department of Nourishment Arts really came about because we had decided to umbrella all of the farm and the culinary program and nutrition under one roof. But we wanted a name that really encompassed what we were trying to do, and we were food services before that. And so we really wanted something that reflected food, but in a different way. And we all loved the word nourish because there's so much meaning behind that when you talk about food. So nourish, it has a nurturing quality to it. It means care. And if you look at farming, there's really an art to farming as there is to culinary and as there is, I would argue, to nutrition. So the Department of Nourishment Arts just seemed to make sense.
Jen, you have an interesting philosophy here. And when it comes to food, there's something that you always do first, right?
Yes.
What is that?
We always say first we eat, then we do everything else.
Yeah.
Really, food here is what we call a foundational therapy, which basically means that we have to get your body with the right nutrients in order for it to be able to do other things. So it's really about regulating your system. So it should probably be first we eat, sleep, exercise, then we do everything else. But it's really creating that foundation for health and wellness before we can then ask bodies to do amazing things like communicate and socialize and learn.
Wow. I've seen a lot of your trucks driving around the campus, and on the side of it, in big letters,
Yes.
food is medicine.
Yes.
Really a strong statement.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
It's a very strong statement, but I think it's a statement that a lot of other cultures have already embraced, and I think here in the West we kind of forgot it a little bit. But food is something that you put in your body multiple times a day. So to think somehow that it doesn't have an impact on health, to me, is crazy. I think that food can really either support health or food can really undermine health. And so we really want to be cognizant of how powerful food can be and give it the respect and understanding that it deserves. And that really comes in the form of whole foods, things that aren't processed, things that are grown the way they're supposed to be grown.
Yeah. And good inputs versus bad inputs.
Absolutely. And preparing to make sure that the nutrients stay in the food and above all that the food is delicious, because we definitely want people to eat it. That's the most important.
There's one more expression around these parts.
Yes.
I haven't been here very long,
Okay.
but I've heard it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you are credited with, is it farm to belly or seed to
Seed to belly.
Seed to belly, right.
Yep.
I love that. Tell me
Yep.
more about that.
So seed to belly is actually our response to the phrase farm to table. A lot of people were calling us a farm to table program, and I really didn't like that because we go way before the farm. We really start with the seed quality and the soil quality, and then all the way through past the table, because really if food stops at the table, right, you grow this amazingly nutritious food, you prepare it in a very healthy way, but if it stops at your table, it doesn't have its healing properties. No one's nourished. And so it really became important to me that everybody understand that the most important part of our whole food chain really comes at the end. It's the bite. So that we want to make sure that all of this wonderful healing food makes it into our residence. And sometimes that's a challenge because we have some pretty difficult people in terms of feeding. We have a lot of food sensitivities and things like that.
Sure.
But we want to maximize that bite. And so the program really encompasses all of that.
So maybe we should all be readopting this phrase rather than farm to table.
Right? Seed to belly.
Seed to belly. I love it. Let's do that. At the Center for Discovery, knowing what quality food is and how to acquire it is a core principle here. Another is to provide meaningful work for their staff and the people they care for. A key tool for allowing these to happen is Thanksgiving Farm, a 100-acre USDA certified organic and biodynamic farm. It's one of the crown jewels of the center and a cornerstone to the success of the program. Greg York is the head vegetable farmer at Thanksgiving Farm, cultivating this land for over 10 years.
So when I began here at Thanksgiving Farm 10 years ago, I was hired as a production farmer, right? And so that was not really a piece of any of the administrative or other kinds of educational or facilities projects here. So it was strictly, there's a division between farming and everything else therapeutically that happens here. And so over time, it's been a progression of us being just a farm producing vegetables and meats and eggs and other things like that, to a place where we're actually very, very involved with having the residents and students help us out on the farm. So we've had the experience of having groups come to work with us, either in the wash barn and post-harvest or actually out in the fields with fairly significant physical challenges and surely other challenges as well, that you sort of look at somebody and you start to make judgments about what's possible immediately. It's almost human nature. And it's just absolutely, it's that piece about not judging a book ever by its cover, because what we've seen over the years is folks that are very challenged in many different ways turn out to be unbelievably productive people given the right context and the right support through staff and tailoring work to their needs and their abilities. So it's been just a remarkable experience, and we're still exploring that. That's part of the future for us, is continuing to find ways that students and residents can help in meaningful ways on the farm.
So with all that's going on here right now, you're still always thinking ahead, moving forward. So what's on the horizon for you and the farm?
Wow, there's some really exciting stuff happening. I can basically break it down into two separate areas that are progressing at the same time.
Okay.
One is strictly production, and the other is this really exciting area of integration of farm work with our residents and students in combination with the farm team. That is actually the most exciting piece, because as far as we know, no one's ever really been able to figure out how to have a therapeutic farm also be a productive commercial farm. And we think we've found some really creative, interesting ways to push that envelope forward, to try to figure out how to do that. It's always a juxtaposition. There's production pressure. We want as many vegetables because we're feeding ourselves. We want as much meat and eggs, etc., as we can produce. But we also want, at the same time, all of these wonderful kids that are here, and young adults, to help out and have meaningful experiences and actually help grow their own food, right? How do you do it? It seems like it's like oil and water, right? And so that's what we're trying to figure out right now. It's this whole process, and it may take, 5, 10, 15, 20 more years to really have it, cooking well.
Yeah, right.
But as you can see, there's a lot of exciting possibilities that we're actively working on at the moment.
Well, my money's on that working out, because you've already said how productive all the folks are here that, surprise you.
Yeah.
And if you've got productivity, you're well on your way, right?
Yeah, figuring that piece out will put us in the history books. It's that important.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then it's transferable.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Several times a week, students and residents at the Center for Discovery come here. This is the wash barn, and it's where all the food that's grown at Thanksgiving Farms is prepared for later distribution to the cafeteria or the houses on campus or even the CSA market. But one of the best things about this for the participants, they're learning so many important life skills that will help them in other areas no matter what work they do. Now ultimately it would be great if they became farmers and stayed right here, but no matter what they do, the skills they're learning here are transferable. Whether it's time management or fine motor skills, counting, sorting, all those things. And the beauty of it is the farming provides a platform for that, which is why farming has such a high emphasis at the center. Providing an opportunity for everyone to interact with nature is a high priority at the Center for Discovery. So they're constantly seeking new ways to improve the lives of the people it serves, their families, and staff. One such way is to become involved in the needed projects within the community or to enhance the community for all to share. You know, a great example of that is the Hurleyville Rail Trail. Now, it extends about 10 miles with broad pathways and a gentle slope. And it's a good example of an accessible opportunity for everybody to get out into nature and experience a little history while serving as a strong economic engine for the local community as well. One of the best things about nature-based learning is that it reaches people of all ages and skill levels, no matter the physical limitation, location, or economic level. The Ford School in Ackworth, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, launched their program over 17 years ago. With only $200 and a single gardening bed, the gardens today cover almost 20 acres and include several wildlife habitats, nature trails, pollinator gardens, vegetable gardens, and edible landscapes. Their extensive science and environmental program teaches nearly 700 students and involves their parents in the process so that many generations learn environmental life lessons. Currently, every class, from music to math, spends at least some time outdoors as they extend those lessons to include a service and outreach component that includes the community around them. Catherine Paget is a math and reading specialist at Ford School who was also one of the founding teachers of the gardening program. Currently, she volunteers as the liaison between the school and the community and is the project manager of some of their sustainability and outreach programs.
Our main goal in 1994 in developing our outdoor learning labs was to be able to enrich and enhance what was being taught in the classroom, moving our children into an authentic environment where they could have that hands-on application. That was our primary goal. Secondary was to begin to restore some of our habitats that had been destroyed in construction of the school. Environmental education has always been key here at Ford. We were a certified schoolyard habitat the year that the school was built, and so we remain committed to preserving our natural resources and our habitats on our campus, as well as educating our children of the value of preserving that.
So here at the school, the teachers and the volunteers spend so much time making sure they fully integrate all the various age groups with the curriculum around all these gardens scattered around the school. Now the first graders, they're learning about the different parts of the plant, so they'll plant these beds out starting with seeds. The second graders are learning about the various stages of wildlife, like the birds and the butterflies. And because so many of these plants are natives, it does a great job of attracting the honeybees. And the honeybees are really important at boosting the production of the vegetables, which are very important for the math and the nutrition class. So you see how all this works together. But the beauty of it is all the students get to spend time in this amazing environment in these outdoor classrooms, and it doesn't take very long to realize just how much all the students love learning outside. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
Good. What are you planting?
Cabbage.
Perfect. Nice soil. Very good.
Our latest inspiration and installation has been a geometric structured math garden. And this is a garden where we see a chance to have a lot of integration opportunity. We are developing curriculum for that right now, and our students are already out there actively taking those lessons, those math content lessons that they're learning in the classroom and getting a chance to actually apply them. Our primary goal with the math garden is to bring the content that's being learned in the classroom at every grade level into an authentic, everyday, real-life experience where these children are measuring, they're growing, they're charting, they're doing data analysis, and really learning how an outdoor classroom lab can actually enhance what they're learning in the inside. We intentionally put educational signage where as they enter the building and they exit the building and they are around the perimeter of the building, they are learning seamlessly. To say that it's a local project, it's more than that. It's our community, it's our statewide network, it's our scout programs, it's our students, of course, it's our parent volunteers who are trained every year by us as Earth volunteers, and they allow us, along with the science lab, to extend and enrich our students' lives. It's a well-oiled machine at this point in that it has been so embedded, and our community feels passionate about it, as we do. And I have no doubt that 20 years from now, it will still be going strong and still enriching the lives of our students and our community.
I learned so much. I learned about the plants and the animals and the adaptations, and it's so much fun digging in the dirt, but you're still in the outdoor classrooms. And you just learn, and you get to be outside at the same time, and it's just awesome because you learn math, you learn the angles, the edges, the shapes, but at the same time you're out in the garden, which is so much fun.
I think learning outside is great because you get to tie in other subjects, and it just makes you think about the world in a different way.
You know, no matter where you live, there's always an opportunity for nature-based learning and to volunteer, which is what we're doing today, not far from Atlanta, Georgia, where I live. Now, this is Three Circles Foundation. What's cool about them? They cater to boys that are 12 years old and up. They have a program once a month on Saturdays, and the boys show up. They come from foster homes or broken homes or even single-parent families. But they come and get their hands in the dirt. They get some awesome mentoring from plenty of volunteers. And there's so much to learn here, but it's all based in nature and environmental education. I love that. So as a nonprofit foundation, certainly there's not a lot of cash rolling in here, but what they lack in funds, they certainly make up for in volunteers, and there are plenty of them, and thank goodness for that, because there's no shortage of work here, especially with the weeding, but I think they're getting as much out of this as all the kids. Wouldn't you say? You're right? Yeah. You know, of all the stories that we've produced over the years, and there have been a lot, the ones involving kids and nature always seem to make the biggest impact, not only on them, but on our crew. So the moral of the story is, never miss an opportunity to get involved with a child in nature or volunteer at a camp or a school, because our kids need you and they need nature, and chances are the experience will have a lasting impression on you too. If you'd like to learn more about the places that you saw today, well, we have that information on our website under the show notes for this episode. The website address, it's the same as our show name. It's growingagreenerworld.com. I'm Joe Lample. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here next time for more Growing a Greener World. All right, one more. Of course.
We were doing methods before, but now this is escalating.
Yes, thanks for clarifying that.
You're very welcome. I clarify everything that needs to be clarified.
You're like a comedian too, right? Do you work as a comedian part-time? Because I've seen you before and you make me laugh.
Yes.